When you're looking for Whirlpool innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, will help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified Whirlpool appliances save you energy and money and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
The Justice Network is here. If you haven't tuned in, you're missing a great lineup of gripping stories of real crime, plus an unprecedented effort by viewers like you to play an active role in making your community safer. You can help support law enforcement by providing information that may lead to the apprehension of dangerous criminals or find a missing child. Great shows and your chance to fight crime, only on the Justice Network.
Hi, I'm John Mallos. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV. Glad you're here on a Tuesday morning. Usually we talk about business on Tuesday. We will talk about whether or not Fresno is a business-friendly city with a former city councilman right here in our studio. We'll talk about that and much more on Connect with me, 436-ME-TV, option 11. Back in a moment. Glad you're back here on the program today on a Tuesday morning. The focus is on business today with a former city councilman here. He'll not be running for office again, but he knows the ins and outs of city government and city hall like no other. A programming note, a reminder that tomorrow's program, a pretty important one. We're going to talk about rape. That's right, rape. We'll have somebody in here, the executive director from the Rape Counseling Center here in the city of Fresno. We'll also have somebody from the Fresno Police Department in this studio tomorrow talking from the rape or sex crimes unit from the Fresno PD. So a very interesting program coming your way tomorrow here on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. Time to remind you now that you are watching us live every day, Monday through Friday, on Comcast, channel 375. That would be Xfinity. But if you don't have Comcast cable, it's okay, my friends. You know, it's a live program, so you can watch it over the air broadcast if you want with an antenna, 43.6, 13.1 as well. The replay comes only over the air broadcast at 2 o'clock, 13.6 YouTube, 8 o'clock tonight, 4.6 Biz TV. And the Twitter account has not changed. It's at John Mallos, Me TV. So Austin Reed is here from the Justice Network talking about the weather. Last couple of days, it really felt good because the weather got a little bit cooler. Felt like a winter storm yesterday with the wind kicking up and the rain coming down. It felt oh so good to climb into bed last night. Wasn't it cozy? Felt like a nice winter storm. Austin Reed from the Justice Network has this weather update on what today will look like.
Yes, John, good morning to you and happy Tuesday, everybody. Austin Reed in the First Alert No Wait Weather Center. Hey, November starting off with a lot of rain and snow in the mountains. The winter storm warning that was issued for areas above 5,000 feet yesterday, it did expire last night at 10 o'clock. But man, those areas got pounded with snow. Some locations saw around 19 inches. And here in the valley, we saw rain from the morning all the way to late last night. Heavy showers and some flooding. Well, today it's going to be much different because this big storm system that moved in yesterday, well, that has pretty much moved to the east. So we are going to see some sunshine. Here is your forecast for this 3rd of November now, Tuesday. I'm shooting for a high of 62 degrees at the Fresno Yosemite International Airport. So today a little bit warmer. Tonight, whew, it is going to be chilly. We're talking about temperatures in the low 40s, 42 for a low, 74% humidity, partly cloudy skies. We could see some hit or miss showers throughout the afternoon, but other than that, it will be a really nice fall-like day. Coming up tonight in No Wait Weather, I'll talk more about Monday's storm, some rain totals and snow totals, plus I'll have a look at your 5-day outlook. See you tonight for No Wait Weather. For now, I'm Austin Reed. John, send it back to you.
So that No Wait Weather is going to start at 6 o'clock tonight on the Justice Network. It's all part of the Ventura Broadcasting family here and the Ventura Broadcasting Company. So we've got, 25 channels now, and the Justice Network is one of them. You can also catch John Walsh on the Justice Network as well. So time to talk to a former Fresno City Councilman here about business-friendly Fresno, or is it? You know, there's been quite a debate for the last few months or so. Ever since Holly Carter, she is a small business owner here in the city of Fresno, came out with that op-ed piece in the Fresno Bee. It was countered by Pete Weber, and then they duked it out in an article in the Business Journal. Here it is right here, dated, what's the date on that, Jerry? What is that, August 14th, I believe. August 14th, they duked it out in a dueling article at the bottom of the fold there. Holly says that Fresno is not as business-friendly as it should be in getting a conditional use permit for businesses around the Central Valley, here specifically in Fresno. Pete Weber counters that, says, no, we've changed the system. The other factor is downtown Fresno. You know, the Fulton Mall is scheduled to be torn out. They'll open it up to cars. They've opened this thing up for bids. The bids came in the last couple of weeks or so in front of council. They were high, up to $24 million. And so they're going to go back to the drawing board on that, but they're scheduled to break ground after the first of the year. So will that bring new business in? That's the other question. Here's a piece you might be interested in that was produced by CMAC right here in the city of Fresno. And this one is called, Do You Believe in Downtown Fresno, or do you believe in downtown anywhere, America?
What's the point in saving it?
I have everything I need up north.
No grand plans can improve it.
Revitalized? How many times have I heard that before?
All across America, a change is taking place. Cities that believe in themselves are transforming their downtowns. And in the process, they discover something incredible. Cities like Kalamazoo, Memphis, St. Petersburg, Boise, San Jose, they all believe that to be a great city, you need a great downtown, and that one big idea renewed their cities into thriving business centers and incredible success stories. Now ask yourself, what do you believe in? Do you believe Fresno has the potential to be great? Most of all, do you believe in downtown Fresno? It was 1964. Construction began on the Fulton Mall. 6 months later, it became the nation's second pedestrian mall. Community leaders thought it was just the change Fresno needed to become a thriving city. And for a time, it seemed to be a promise fulfilled. A few years after it opened to foot traffic, the Fulton Mall began its decline. Decades had passed when big stores like Montgomery Ward and JCPenney moved out to shopping centers closer to new neighborhoods. Where did that leave the Fulton Mall?
Fresnans my age remember when Fulton Street operated as a busy thoroughfare with cars and stores and people walking on the sidewalks. Today, sadly, it operates at only 6% of its economic potential.
Some 200 pedestrian malls were built in the 1960s and 70s. Today, more than 170 of them have been removed. Of the 24 malls remaining, only 7 are successful. And they're tied to a major anchor like a university or a hospital campus.
Live in our studio now is Jerry Duncan. He's a former Fresno City Councilman. He knows the ins and outs of City Hall and city government. He'll be here to talk about whether or not Fresno is as business friendly as it should be. And we'll talk about the Fulton Mall as well, because that issue is hot of topic right now. It's front and center on the burner. It will happen sooner rather than later. After the first of the year, they're scheduled to break ground, but they still have to get the bids squared away because it came in over budget, the bids, $23 million. When the city council had this scheduled, I think they penciled it out at about 19 or 20 million, somewhere in that range. So it is over budget right now, but they'll try to get it back down. Is this a good thing for Fresno or not? 436-ME-TV, option 11. We're back with our Tuesday program, The Focus on Business, with Jerry Duncan, the former city councilman.
Take a look at this. Let's play. This is too hip for you. I'll slow it down. Let's play.
Watch all your favorite classic game shows on Buzzer TV, KBBC Digital Channel 13.7.
Frigidaire. We introduced the first home freezer, the first pulsator agitator washer, and now we introduce the Frigidaire Orbit Clean dishwasher, designed with a unique wash arm that gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
Back here on the program, here on Connect with Me. Hey, I didn't mention in the monologue, I want to get this out of the way because I would be amiss if I didn't mention this, at least in my own brain, my own little mind here. I want to congratulate my friend, my longtime friend. I've known him since he was in high school, Dusty Baker. He is now the new manager of the Washington Nationals, of course, the former Dodger, played with the Atlanta Braves, was in the on-deck circle when Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's home run record. Dusty Baker, the longtime Giants manager as well. He takes over the Washington Nationals. Interesting in that a former San Francisco Giant was fired from that job after the season, you may recall, and now Dusty, the former Dodger and former Giant manager, takes over. So very interesting stuff. And all you 49er fans, I hope you're happy out there now that Colin Kaepernick has been benched. We'll see for how long, though. Jerry Duncan has been here. I've known you for a long time, former Fresno City Councilman. Good to see you.
Great to see you, John.
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
Good.
Just wonderful.
So I've got some videotape of the Fulton Mall. Let's roll it here. It's called Fulton Mall New Video. It's about 1:45 here. Let's take a look at this before we get into the business aspect of this. I guess the initial question, Jerry, from your point of view, is it a good thing to tear this mall out and open it up to traffic? And if so, why?
Well, it is a good thing. It's a critical thing. The Fulton Mall was conceived, it was somewhat innovative at the time, but even at the time it was conceived, it was intended to try to compete with the malls being built in North Fresno. It didn't happen. The people that live in North Fresno stayed in North Fresno to go shopping. They didn't come downtown. So it was pretty much an ill-conceived idea, and its decline began pretty much right afterwards. There's been a lot of effort and a lot of energy and a lot of money in bringing downtown Fresno back. And this is one of the pieces. It's not the magic silver bullet, but it's one of the key pieces that needs to happen. You've got a 6-block dividing line in downtown Fresno, and it's hard. It's really difficult to get from one side to the other. The mall concept just didn't work, and we need to fix that.
Yeah. Caller, you're on the air with Jerry Duncan. Go ahead.
Jerry, let me ask you a question. I happen to go to Full Mall and all that, and I get the atmosphere more like a flea market with, I mean, they have clothes out there hanging and whatnot. It doesn't give a great impression of what they want to do, but I don't think you're going to bring a lot of people this way, because they're trying to improve it by more like a river park. Most of the towns are come from the outside, and the money's not going to be spent there. Okay, I'm going to tell you that. Even if they remodeled and everything, carry the the cement and whatever, they're going to need lighting. Number one, clean up the alleys where there's a lot of homeless, and of course the park is a big issue, and as well as security. What would you have done differently what they want to do now?
Well, actually, that's a great question, by the way, and a great observation. The key for that area, downtown Fresno and Fulton Mall specific, or Fulton Street, I should call it, it's got to be different. It's not going to compete with River Park. It's not going to compete. It needs to be different.
What would the purpose of it be?
Well, one of the things I've advocated for a long time, and actually Forest City, when they were involved, was going to do it, is to turn Fulton Street into like an entertainment district, sort of like Beale Street in Memphis, Bourbon Street in New Orleans, maybe not quite as crazy. But the idea of having a destination where people can go and enjoy themselves with clubs and restaurants and boutique shops. And part of that is bringing back the look of Fulton before it was ruined with the mall. I mean, if you go back and look at old pictures of Fulton Mall, there's some really neat architecture, kind of a 30s theme. And I know part of the plan for Fulton Street is double wide sidewalks to encourage outdoor dining. Look, they're talking some loosening up some of the zoning requirements. It can be a little more eclectic and unique. But if we can pull that off, Fulton Street will be extremely successful place and a destination that I think people, as they're traveling through, will want to stop and enjoy themselves.
You're going way back now, because that's what it used to be called, Fulton Street, way before they put that mall in. And was Fresno at the time, I don't know how much inside information you have, was Fresno at the time, the city leaders, were they thinking, okay, the rest of the country, they're putting in these malls where they block off traffic, and it's a pedestrian mall. We might as well do it too. We might as well follow the leader. Is that what the thinking was?
Essentially, the concept was, let's bring shoppers back because malls are popular. We'll just do a mall downtown that's outdoors. And it didn't work.
One moment, caller.
It didn't work. So the good news are, Mayor Swearington and really is visionary to see that, and she's pushed really hard to make sure that we can fix that mistake. It's time to do that.
If we recognize the mistake, why did it take so long to change it, do you think?
Well, Fulton Mall is, controversial issue. We actually proposed changing it right after I got on the city council in 2001. At the time, there wasn't a political will to do it. Now, what Ashley's done, and I think was rightfully done, is she went to the people of the area, built a lot of public support for the change. So when it came back and it required to vote, the political support was there for it.
Right. Mayor Alan Autry just didn't have the stomach to do it, or the political will, or what?
Well, once we had the redevelopment agency proposed a pretty significant plan for Fulton, really well thought through. We spent a lot of money on it, actually. And the council didn't back it. He just he had other priorities then. He knew that wasn't a priority that was going to necessarily be worth fighting.
Priority was crime, I think, back then.
Well, it was part of it, sort of like it is now.
Yeah, I guess some things haven't changed. Yeah.
But no, it's time to make the change. I kind of almost laugh when people who claim that we need to save it talk about its historical significance. Well, if we really have that attitude, we never should have put the mall in the first place, because Fulton Street was a very historic place. So now we can
a lot of
fix
things
that.
are historic. I mean, heck, they tore down Yankee Stadium that was built in 1923.
Well,
why didn't they save that? That's in New York, of course, but I mean, everything to a certain extent is historical, and there are certain things that maybe we should save for historical value. And you can still, caller, hang on, you can still save a portion of that mall for historical sake, I guess, right? You can save the statues that are there, and
the artwork.
The artwork.
There's a very specific plan to save and emphasize the artwork so that more people can enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning. It's me again commenting on the Fulton Mall. I agree with the previous caller. The biggest problem there is no parking whatsoever. If you close your eyes and you visualize that area, most of the parking is like where and back where used to be like JCPenney, and on the other side of between where the Crest Theater is and that part right there. But anywhere else, there's no more parking.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't see, And if you park on the side of the street, you've got a long ways to walk. There's a lot of people there aren't going to be willing to walk that distance, 2-3 blocks to get to the,
But caller,
center there.
Caller, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
All right, I've heard the argument, though, that, okay, they can build parking. Somehow you can build a parking lot or develop some kind of an area for parking, but I think the people that want to open up Fulton Mall say, look, if you have cars driving through, you can be with your family in the car, drive through Fulton Street, look around each side of the street and see if you want to stop. Is there anything eye-appealing? Is there a store? Is there a restaurant? Gee, let's drive by and see what's going on. Maybe, and then if you like what you see, let's find a parking spot. We'll pull over. We'll pay to park. We'll go in there, enjoy ourselves. Is that too far out of the question for those people that really?
Well, the thing is that if you were talking back from before '64. You could drive down Fulton Street, look on both sides of the street, you see all kinds of stores. That was then, but now is now.
Well, caller, I think, excuse me, one of the important points that we have to remember is...
Thank you to the caller.
Yeah, and by thank you. The downtown Fresno is an urban environment. It's like downtown San Francisco, downtown Phoenix. It's not a River Park where you have expansive parking. There is a lot of parking actually right around there. And the concept of walking a couple of blocks, if you only have to walk a couple of blocks when you want to go to a restaurant or a show in San Francisco, you're feeling pretty lucky.
Yeah.
So it's a different environment, and I understand it's maybe not quite as convenient as going to one of the outdoor malls, but the key is bringing the business and getting the interest in things that people will want to go down there, and the people who live there. There's a lot of people living downtown now can enjoy and help that area prosper.
Hang on, caller. Just real quick, Jerry. Is my theory reasonable that if you're driving through Fulton Street and you look on either side and you find something appealing, hey, let's stop, let's have fun?
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. That's one of the reasons that Fulton Mall is not working.
Yeah. Okay. Caller, you're on the air. Quick, we got to take a break, so it's kind of short on time, but go ahead. What's your question? Thank you for calling.
Yes, sir. Have you guys ever thought about taking a survey regarding how many people will go to the Fulton Mall if it was tore down? You probably go to the PG&E or City Hall, have those kind of flyers.
What's the question?
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand.
I don't understand the question.
If you send a survey out or a flyer saying if you would go to the Fulton Mall and was tear down, how many people think are going to go travel from way north side of town to the Fulton Mall or northwest or southwest? Right. How many people will do that?
Right.
Take a survey on it.
That's a fair question.
Get an input from the people.
Now,
Thank you, caller.
I don't know specifically of surveys. Again, I'm not in the council anymore. Most of my information comes from talking to people down there. But in the process of leading up to the decision to make Fulton Mall into Fulton Street, there was an enormous amount of input, an enormous amount of meetings, community meetings, town hall meetings. It was really well done. The mayor did a really good job making sure that decision was the right one. And to her credit, she made the right decision, and the process is going to go on.
Okay, talking to Jerry Duncan, the former city councilman here in the city of Fresno. Remember this guy? He was first elected back, 2001?
I took office in
2001. Yeah, first elected in 2000, and then, of course, the following year took office there and spent some time at City Hall. I don't know who knows it better, him or George Hofstetter, the Fresno Bee, who recently retired. He was our guest here, of course, recently. 436-ME-TV, option 11. We're also going to get into the topic as to whether or not Fresno is business friendly. We'll see what Jerry has to say about that and much more back in a moment.
The following is a list of celebrities you will not see on MeTV programs. Charlie Sheen, Lindsay Lohan, Snooki, Paris Hilton, Perez Hilton, Honey Boo Boo, Justin Bieber, Simon Cowell, Chris Brown, Miley Cyrus, and the Real Housewives of any place. This is who you will see on MeTV programs. Lucy, Ralph, Mary, Perry, Gilligan, Kenner, Spock, Batman, Rowdy, Festus, and the Beaver. MeTV. Thanks for watching.
Not sure what you're watching? Want to see what's coming up next? Or just want to browse what's on without the hassle of flipping channels? Your wish has come true. Now you can view schedules for all the digital TV channels available in the Central Valley. Get local weather updates and forecasts, and listen to nationally syndicated Biz Talk Radio, all on KVHF 4.1. Rescan your TV now, then tune in to Digital Channel 4.1 to start enjoying the all-new TV Guide.
All right, a few more minutes talking about the downtown Fulton Mall. I want to roll some videotape from the 1968 Circa, all right, of the Fulton Mall. And of course, this thing was put in, I think they broke ground in 62 or 63, and then it was completed in September of 1964. Well, this is obviously the Fulton Mall before it was completed, so it had to be prior to 1968. But that's okay. Leave that up there. That's good video. Not a problem. We can see, Jerry, they thought it was a good idea at the time, but if you tear it back out and you open this thing up to traffic now, it's no longer a pedestrian mall. What is your centerpiece going to be for an attraction? You talked about Bourbon Street, of course. You talked about Beale Street, you know, in other parts of the country. What will the main attraction be in downtown Fresno near Fulton Street that will attract these people like flies?
Well, I think what's the key point is the design that's going to come out of the Fulton Street project. The double wide sidewalks. I know the city's very interested in encouraging, you know, restaurants to open up with sidewalk dining so people can enjoy, you know, be outside and enjoy that life. Having cars there, there'll be some parking on Fulton Street. It'll bring life back. Now, is it going to be a swarm of people coming every night? Not initially, because there still has to be the investment by the private sector to make it happen. But what the city can do, and I believe in Fulton is doing, is supply the infrastructure to make that a desirable thing for people.
Right. We're looking at the old-time footage here. A lot of pomp and circumstance there. Thousands of people flocking to the Fulton Mall as it opened up back in the 60s, as you can see there. Rare footage. I like the footage in this. Everybody thought it was a great idea at the time, but so it doesn't sound like you think there has to be a centerpiece. It can be shops, it can be restaurants, it can be people eating outside. That's the attraction. And how do you get, you know, do you compete with, say, a fashion fair? Do you compete with a river park, or is it its own separate entity?
If you try to, well, that's what Fulton Mall was trying to do, is compete with the northern shopping centers, and obviously that failed. It has to be something different, unique from River Park, unique from all the different area places in town, and that's what they're striving to do, to provide this, you know, quaint urban experience with this outdoor dining and, you know, entertainment. You know, Fresno's got terrific bands and music in this town, a place to showcase it. But ultimately, that's going to be the private sector making those moves.
So you think it has to be something different than what people are getting in North Fresno from River Park? It's got to be different. It can't be the same. You can't compete. So let's make it different.
If it's the same, it'll fail. If it's different, it has a chance to succeed. Now, understand, when the stadium was built, people, you know, have since complained, well, it didn't fix downtown. Well, it was never supposed to fix downtown. But the stadium did its job. And what the stadium's doing is bringing 500,000 people to downtown a year that weren't coming before. Now, has things happened to give them a reason to stay? No. This may help they'll do that. I know of people that are very anxious to put in some like sports bars and some restaurants. They told me they're going to do it once the mall is open. So I think now those 500,000 people that come and see the Grizzlies play every year are now have a reason to either come early or even stay afterwards. That's going to be really important. You've got a lot of new people living in downtown with a lot of the new housing projects. They're dying for things to do. And the good thing is they're close, they can walk, they can enjoy themselves. That's going to help spur the vibrancy that area desperately needs.
Okay, how do you solve the parking situation?
Well, there actually is quite a bit of parking in that area. You've got 2 big parking structures that are always, they're never full. And you've got some street parking. The meters are there, especially around the stadium. The meters were put there. One of the reasons is to make sure to support the business community, because during a Grizzly game, if you had free parking and say you weren't going to a ball game, but you wanted to go have a dinner or a restaurant or shopping, you'd find no parking out anywhere. That would be the problem. So there's parking available downtown. I think there's just still a kind of a misbelief that it's not there. But I think if people go down there and want to park, now it's not spread out like a shopping center is in North Fresno, but it's there within a block or two. And
can they add more parking, or?
We can always add more parking. The problem, when I was on the council, we added 4,500 additional stalls in downtown Fresno. We're still paying for them. I mean, they got but I don't know that the resources are necessarily there right now. But there is adequate parking in the downtown area.
I want to address one more issue, and it's a big one before we go to break, and that is safety. I've heard people say this over and over again, especially people that live on the north side of town. They say, look, I'm not going to go to a Grizzly game at night. I'm not going downtown at night, because there is this long-standing perception that downtown is dangerous. And yes, there are drunks, there are derelicts, there are troublemakers, there are some homeless people that go downtown, and there is this perception that I am not safe with my family if I go downtown at night. How do you eliminate that? How do you combat that?
Well, I think you eliminate it with some truth, some facts. And surprisingly, the crime rate at River Park's higher than the crime rate downtown. And so, yeah, there's issues. There's issues everywhere in Fresno, especially with some of the homeless, housing that's right down there. But the police department can, with more officers coming on board, can make that a priority if they need to. But primarily, it's a misconception. Downtown is actually fairly safe.
Right. And I'm just wondering how you convince the public of that. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know how you convince somebody. And
well, when things start to happen, I mean, people that go to Grizzly games, they still go to Grizzly games. It's not, they're not afraid enough to not go. When Fulton Street starts to become a little more interesting, people will come. There's safety in numbers. They'll come.
Right. Now, you mentioned River Park has more crime than downtown. Did that figure come from the Fresno PD, or?
Yeah.
It did?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Another caller? Caller, go ahead. You're on with Jerry Duncan.
Yeah, I just want to know what's going to happen to all the sculptures and stuff in the downtown mall.
Okay. That's a really good point. We've got an extraordinary art collection on the mall right now, and one of the top priorities with the mayor in this change is to making sure that art is preserved and actually displayed better.
Can I ask a dumb question here?
Yeah.
Why is it worth saving? Because I'm not sure.
There's some actually remarkable pieces of art from some very famous artists.
Yeah, no hate mail or hate calls, but I don't know why it's worth saving. I guess it is, because a lot of people think it is.
Well, there's some. I mean, I don't know all the names of the artists, but some world-renowned artists and sculptures are there. And it's really important, I think, to the community that we preserve that. And frankly, the changes are going to make it easier for more people to enjoy it. And I know the mayor is 100% committed to making sure that happens. And
right. Okay, talking to Jerry Duncan. We'll switch topics here a little bit as we come back from the break. 436-MeTV, option 11. You're welcome to call in. We're going to find out from Jerry whether or not Fresno is a business-friendly city. You may be surprised at what he has to say. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's Sully and Russ on the Big Biz Show. It's your biz.
And maybe they'll start listening to Baldwin McCullough.
Now, before you make any money moves, check in with the Brain Trust.
And you are starting your week off right.
Biz TV is now on KDHF Channel 4.6.
Tune in to Heartland for the best in true country music. Relive vintage specials, one-of-a-kind concerts, and country music's earliest videos. Heartland is the heart of country, the only place where you can find country music, country stars, and country lifestyles 24/7. Heartland, the heart of country.
Now on channel 13.2.
The new Frigidaire Professional line at Ventura TV Video Appliance.
Enjoy generous-sized cooktops and sauté or simmer with ease, while true convection ovens offer even baking and juicy roasting perfection. Foods stay their freshest in spacious refrigerators with convenient controls and clear filtered ice and water. Easy-to-clean surfaces reduce fingerprints, and the quietest of dishwashers makes cleanup a snap. The new Frigidaire Professional line
at Ventura TV Video Appliance.
Back here on the show with Jerry Duncan, the former city council member, circa 2001 and beyond. Well, a couple of more items here regarding the Fulton Mall. I have some email questions. Will cars be able to drive straight through from Warner's Theater to the old Gottschalks?
Yep.
I'm not sure.
Yes.
You will?
Yes.
Okay. What is the status of the old Bank of America building? Restore or demolish? I have no idea.
I'm not sure, other than I know every effort's being made to preserve those awesome buildings downtown. So
yeah,
I'm not aware of any plans or thoughts of any kind to tear anything down. The goal is to preserve them.
All right. The question is, do we have a caller? Yes or no? We can check. Caller, are you there? No, he was. Okay. All right. Call back 436 MeTV option 11. I hit the button twice, hung up on him. All right. So recently, within the last few months or so, let's put it that way, in the Fresno Bee op-ed piece by Holly Carter says, you know what, Fresno is not as business friendly as it should be. Pete Weber comes back and says, hey, you're full of it. There's no way. Here's why. And then they kind of duked it out in the Business Journal here in August. Okay, bottom of the fold. And I want to quote Jerry what Holly Carter said. We have a problem, Carter said. Our city's planning and permitting process has created unnecessary roadblocks to small businesses, small business development and growth. You agree with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hang on, caller. And if you do, why?
Well, I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it with multiple businesses, that people that I know through my time on the city council. I've had people try to hire me to help get that problem fixed, get their business in. I see it all the time. Holly's absolutely right.
What do we, caller, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Listen, I know you're talking right now about Fresno being business friendly, but I'd like to just make one little comment on the mall, if I could, the Fulton Mall.
Go ahead.
I just think one of the problems has been is that the people, the powers that be on the Fulton Mall, have not determined what they want the mall to be. It's been a bunch of things. Now what it's going to be opened up, and that's a good idea, I believe. But you have to determine what you want the Fulton area to become. And then when you make that determination, and something that's never been done, there's been a dot here and a dot there, you need to market that comprehensively of what you want the downtown to be. And then market it heavily, continuously. It's going to take some money, but that's what it's going to take. But you have to determine what you want and then market it. Thank you. I'll take it on the air if you don't mind.
No, caller, that is absolutely right on the money. You're 100% right. And I'm going to encourage you to go to the city's website and look for the specific plan that was developed for that area. And that's exactly what the city has done. And they're in the process now of, providing the infrastructure. But the city spent a lot of time and effort to make sure that they have a vision, and here's the plan for it. And I think when you see it, you're going to be very pleased, because it's not just, let's just open up the street and see what happens. There are specific plans for how the architecture is going to look, the street lights are going to look. They've done a lot.
Do they have a specific business plan as to what businesses will go in there, what it's going to look like? Or?
Well, ultimately is decided by the marketplace.
Okay.
And, the last thing we want is a city government telling what kind of business is going to go in there.
But are they trying to lure business in there? Would that be okay?
Well, I can tell you this, since the specific plan has been adopted, there are numerous people, and I know several of them personally, that are excited as can be and are going to invest millions of dollars in that area. They're so excited for what they see. They see the business potential.
Near and around Fulton Street?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's happening. We're not there yet, obviously, because we got to dig up the street and get it fixed, but you're going to see, I believe, over the next 4 or 5 years, a rather unprecedented amount of growth and development in that Fulton area.
I want to get specific, getting back to the business-friendly Fresno or not. You say it's not business-friendly. Can you be specific as to why it's not business-friendly? Are you talking about what? Businesses being able to get a conditional use permit to expand their business,
That's part of it.
improve their business?
That's part of it.
Okay, be more specific if you could.
Well, let's look at a couple things first. We're a small, like Holly said, and she's right. We're a small business city. Corporate America's not here to help us out. We have to depend on the growth and vitality of our small business community.
Is that the lifeblood of our community?
Absolutely. I mean, ag is the foundation of our economy, but small business is the generator, the job generator, the lifeblood. So you look at cities that are doing really well. You look at cities that are being recognized as the best business-friendly cities in America, and you look at what they do, and then you look at what Fresno does, and there's some big differences. There's a reason why, and actually MarketWatch, which is a website owned by the Dow Jones Company, in August released their 2015 most business-friendly cities list, and out of that, Fresno was the 6th worst in the country.
Yeah, it was like 94 out of 100 or something.
95 out of
95,
100.
okay.
And that was not based on the comments of politicians who declare we're business friendly, so we must be. That was based on a really comprehensive survey by thousands and thousands of small businesses.
Here in the Central Valley?
As part of it. It was a national survey, but a lot of people in the Central Valley. So Fresno earned that ranking. Not based on what politicians say, but based on what the business community says.
So how is Fresno not business friendly? What are they not doing that they should be doing?
Well, what they should be doing...
What are they not doing, first of all?
They're not. Small business is not a priority. There's a need for a whole different view of how small business is and how important it is to the city. The processes, and what Pete was talking about is improving the internal processes. And I'm not going to say they haven't done that.
Talking about Pete Weber.
Pete Weber, exactly. That they haven't made progress in that, but it's more than just, can I get a permit in 2 days? It's more than that.
You talking about a person who wants to come in and open a business or expand a business?
Either.
How are they making it difficult?
Well, there's no resource for, like, a good friend of mine. They've been in business for 9 years. They wanted to add beer and wine to serve to their customers. A very normal, appropriate business path. They ended up taking over 6 months to get this thing finally approved. And when they first sat down with the city, they didn't have anybody to tell them what they needed to do. They had to figure it out. I helped them a lot because they're friends of mine. I gave them some direction. But there's no way, no central place for either a new business owner or somebody trying to do something different to get the knowledge of just what steps are going to be involved, how are you going to do it, how long is it going to take, what do I need to provide.
But then this business owner, from what you told me, didn't they also want to expand to a certain extent, and then they found out they had to do, they had to add a second bathroom, an additional restroom, and that cost extra money. Was that part of the permitting process required by the city?
Well, the city and the county, and the thing is, the fact that they had to add it isn't so much the problem. The fact was they were never told until they got into the process. They established their budget. They knew what the construction was going to cost.
Mm-hmm.
They actually talked to the city, how much should we budget for permits and all that, and they gave them a number that was like 1/3 of what it really was. But they had their budget, and as they began, they got attacked by what I call the oh by the way, and they started going in, getting approval for something. Oh, by the way, you have to do this. Oh, by the way, you have to do this.
Which cost them additional money.
That wasn't budgeted.
That wasn't budgeted and wasn't predetermined or talked about in the beginning stages.
Yeah, and that's part of how the city lets small business down. If you're a new business...
So is this happening across the city?
Oh yeah. I talk to people constantly. Here's another problem, a good one. A funeral home just right on Tulare Street.
Hang on, caller. I'll be with you in a moment. Go ahead.
He wanted to improve his handicapped access. It was legal, but he wanted to make it easier.
Okay.
And he's just right down the street on Tulare Street.
Mm-hmm.
He put in his permits, met with the city. They said in order for the permits to be approved, he had to pave, at his expense, pave an alley behind his business, 1/4 mile. He had to pave that. He had to put in all these handicap changes to the sidewalks,
mm-hmm.
Or he couldn't get his permit. And
so you had to pave an alley for 1/2 mile?
1/4 mile.
1/4 mile?
Yeah, a public alley. It's public.
A public alley for 1/4 mile in order to put in additional handicap parking?
No, handicap, better access to his business.
To his business.
Which was beyond what was required by code. He just wanted to make it better.
Okay.
And he basically told him no. And at the end of the day, he ended up agreeing to put in the sidewalk improvements because he needed
Did
to
he
get
pave
this thing
the
done.
alley?
No,
he didn't.
The city finally backed off. But the point of being business friendly is why in the world is our city government trying to basically extort from businesses to do something that they should be responsible for? That's one of the big problems.
Yeah. Caller, I know you've been patient. You're waiting, but they're forcing me to take a commercial break. Would you be willing to hang on?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, hang on a minute, caller. Back with more of Jerry Duncan, the former city councilman, talking about business-friendly Fresno or not. And we'll take our phone call here. He's been waiting patiently right after the break.
The Justice Network is here. If you haven't tuned in, you're missing a great lineup of gripping stories of real crime, plus an unprecedented effort by viewers like you to play an active role in making your community safer. You can help support law enforcement by providing information that may lead to the apprehension of dangerous criminals or find a missing child. Great shows and your chance to fight crime, only on the Justice Network.
Want to create something extraordinary? Create perfection. Our lifestyle appliances make it easy. KitchenAid, Ventura TV appliance, and you, when only the best will do.
Back here on the program, connect with me on MeTV Fresno. Caller, you've been waiting. Go ahead.
John and Jerry, several questions. I've seen the mall when it was opened and when it was the mall, as traffic would go through it. I've seen that. Of course, that was the first time as I came out to Fresno. Several questions. Are they going to have the same number of lanes going on the mall? That you'll have 4 lanes, I think it is. At least the last time it was. 2 lanes going and 2 lanes opposite direction. Am I correct in saying that? I'm going to have a little dialogue with Jerry if he knows these questions.
Yeah, that's no problem.
No,
For the answers?
I believe it's 1 lane each way.
Really? Ooh.
That
Okay.
about 70% of the existing trees are going to stay.
Okay. So that's the reason why it's 1 lane each way?
Yep.
I'm assuming? Okay.
Yes.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's okay. Is there, and that parking is going to be parallel?
I'm not exactly sure. I know at one point there was talk about angling the parking. I'm not honestly sure exactly what it's going to be like when it's finished.
Okay. And then the parking meters will be gone, maybe?
That I don't know exactly. Probably not. Might be my guess, but I don't know for sure.
Okay, we're assuming they're going to have new kinds of lighting, right? Brighter?
Yes. Yeah. Safety is very important.
Okay. Okay, those are the questions. I know I'm getting sidetracked.
No, that's okay. No, those are all terrific questions. Thank you.
Yeah, they were. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it'd be great if a department store did come there. That would be a good start. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. So let me ask you something about Fulton Mall. Parking meters, you know, I've heard people say that are against breaking out that mall. Okay, I park for free at River Park. I park for free at Fashion Fair. I have to pay to go downtown to Fulton Street. You got to be kidding.
Well, that's urban America. Parking is designed. There's not a lot of it. I mean, there's adequate parking. You can go to a garage and pay there and stay as long as you want. But street parking, typically in an urban environment, is limited, and meters help turn it over. And trust me, if we didn't have parking meters, all the people who are looking at opening stores would think twice about it, because otherwise people who work down there would just park all day for free, and none of their customers could get there. So meters actually help the business community.
Are there any changes to the mass transit that's going to come in and out of downtown after the street opens up?
That I don't know.
Okay. All right. Let's get back to business-friendly Fresno or not, and let's roll some videotape called Downtown Fresno, that brand new video. Pete Weber says, you know what? We've made changes at City Hall. We now are more business-friendly. Holly Carter, you're wrong. In fact, Pete Weber sounded rather irritated, bent, out of shape, that Holly would even come out in public and say such a thing.
Yeah, when I heard that exchange, I actually was very disappointed in Pete Weber's reaction. Frankly,
because
Holly's a small business person, and she deserves a little more respect than that. She has an opinion based on the numerous people she talks to, and to be attacked for that, I thought, was extremely inappropriate. But that gives you a good
hang on, caller.
That gives you a good indication of how Fresno views small business with some contempt. And
why is Pete Weber so sensitive in that area? Why did he, to a certain extent, disrespect Holly and what she was saying?
Well, I think Pete, I can't speak for Pete, I don't know, but as I listened to it, he's worked really hard to try to make things better. I'm not, he's had his task force.
His heart's in the right place.
His heart's in the right place. I just don't think he listened to what Holly was saying. He just reacted to what Holly was saying. And what Holly was saying is unfortunately true. There may be areas that things have really improved. I mean, the fact that if your plumber wants to get a permit to exchange your garbage disposal, it takes an hour now. That's great. But when you get into things that are a little more complex, when you get into a small business who's trying to get started and has to walk in City Hall for the first time, the city lets everybody down.
Yeah, I think what you're a little perturbed about, and what Holly is a little nervous about and anxious about, is the fact that when you go in and talk to the Planning Commission people, and they say, okay, it's going to take X amount of time, it's going to cost you X amount of dollars to get these permits to improve your business. Here's what it's going to cost. Those permits, after a certain amount of time, are issued, and then the big surprise out of the box, oops, we forgot to tell you, this is going to have to be installed, and it's going to cost you more money where it's not budgeted. So that's unfair to the business owner. Exactly. So we're not talking about a plumber coming in and changing out a garbage disposal.
Right.
That's what you're upset about, and that's what Holly is talking about.
Well, and we have a level of business people that are very experienced in dealing with City Hall, and they get through, and I'm sure there's been some improvements to help them. I'm focused on, and what Holly was relating to.
Is the caller still there, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead. Hang on, caller, for one moment. Go ahead, Jerry.
What Holly was talking about is the really small mom and pop who's got a dream, got some money, want to start business, maybe want to change it and grow it. And those are the processes that the city doesn't relate well to. That's where it breaks down.
Okay.
And I don't think Pete Weber really thought in those terms.
Okay, caller, are you there? Nope. Okay, call back. Sorry, 436 Me TV option 11. The caller that had the prefix 598. You can call back. We're waiting for your call. Sorry about that. We put you on hold maybe for a little too long. What is a conditional use permit? Because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about small businesses going down and applying for a conditional use permit to either expand, improve, put in a garbage disposal, whatever the case may be. What does a conditional use permit mean?
Okay. Well, you don't need a conditional use permit to get a garbage disposal.
Okay.
A conditional use permit is typically when something unique is being done, if there's alcohol involved, tobacco, certain business activities, the city requires a conditional use permit. And the conditional use permit is basically the conditions in which you're going to operate your business. And everyone can be unique, everyone can be different. Used right, it provides some flexibility. Used wrong, it creates a bureaucratic nightmare.
If you own a bar and you want to tear out your bar and rebuild it to either bigger, better, put in different kind of wood, do you need a conditional use permit for that?
No. You need to open up the bar. You need a conditional use permit. Every place in Fresno that sells or serves alcohol is required to have a conditional use permit. A building that
so the conditional use permit is to open up the business or improve the business, or both?
Well, if you're opening up that type of use, yes. If you're existing business going to that type of use, like the business I talked about that wanted to add beer and wine, they now needed to get a conditional use permit to do that. And that's what cost them money. That was the process that really failed them. And that's a process that a lot of small businesses, whether they're going to open up a restaurant or a lot of different places like that, that's where they're mostly going to deal with Fresno
to obtain a conditional use permit. It costs money in itself, right? The permit costs money. On average, what does it cost?
Well, probably $4,000 to $5,000
just to get the permit.
Yeah.
In addition to the changes that you want to make.
Yes.
And in addition to what the city imposes upon you.
Yes. Like professional architectural drawn plans. Even if say your business is the building's already there. You're going to lease it. Everything's there. The bathrooms, it's just there. You want to get a conditional use permit, you have to submit plans drawn and signed off by an architect for the building that's already there.
Wow.
Now, to a small business struggling to try to save money to improve their business, that can be very expensive.
Would you recommend a young couple, a young man or a woman looking to be an entrepreneur to open up their own business in Fresno these days? Or would you ask them, you better reconsider, maybe shy away from it, think about it once this process improves? What would your advice be?
Well, there's nothing greater than owning your own business. I mean, I've done it. You have the American dream, and I would never tell anybody not to do that. Depending on what they're doing for their business, most businesses that open don't require a conditional use permit. They're still going to have your issues with the city on a lot of from signage and everything else. But, people need to be able to pursue the dream. What it needs to change is not that we need to make it so that it's so friendly, so easy,
right,
so clear, and that the city is so supportive because it's the top economic priority that they can make these things happen.
Got a break. So in your opinion, real quick, the city is really putting the damper on the dream for many young people to own their own business.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Jerry Duncan, good to see you.
Great to see you, John.
Come back again.
Anytime.
Love to talk to you. All right. Jerry Duncan, the former Fresno City Councilman circa 2001. We're back tomorrow with another program here on Connect with Me on Me TV Fresno. We're talking about rape. That's right. We'll have somebody in from the Rape Counseling Center along with somebody from the Sex Crimes Unit from Fresno PD. Back tomorrow. Have a good day.